The next one is you can't measure it. And when I say that, you've got to make sure that you can count it, right? What can you count on me for? What can I count on you for? The word is not just implicit, it's explicit. Like, what can I count? What can I measure? And you've probably seen this 1,000 times, but if you haven't, I'm going to highly recommend that you think about using this acronym. And it's really basic. It's SMART. And again, you've probably seen this before, and I can tell you, there's so many organizations that when they see this, they go, SMART goals, I've heard of it before, and I say, great. So how often are you using it? When I started my very first business, I remember, having 5 employees, and we would be on different pages all the time, no matter what we were talking about. I'd say, hey, are we going to get that done today? And the person would say, yeah, my foreman on the job would say, yeah, I'll get it done today. And it would be like 5 p.m. And he said, well, I meant later today, not at 5 p.m. And it's like, again, the less specific, the less measurable you are, the more time you waste in productivity and the less aligned, and certainly the less accountable you can be. So what I can tell you is I took my small business from 5 people to more than 100 plus people by just thinking about this language and installing it and embedding it in our organization. So I'm going to give you these very quickly. So the S stands for making this specific, meaning how can I be specific when we talk about goals, when we talk about what we're trying to have impact on. The M stands for measurable. And again, I know you've probably seen this before, but this is the one that breaks down the most as it relates to you can't measure it. So if you think about setting a SMART goal, I'm going to encourage you to really spend some time on the measurable piece. The A, and everybody's got a different version of this, but to me the A stands for attainable. Like, is it even possible? The A is important because to me this is where you engage. You gain agreement. You gain buy-in and say, okay, this is what we're aiming for. Do you agree? Let's record it, and let's set a time parameter to make sure that we're all on the same page. And I can tell you again, where a lot of people fall down is the measurable piece, where a lot of people fall down is, did we record it? Like, did we write it down? Did we type it in an Excel sheet? And more importantly, do we have a time frame to actually hit the goal in? And again, thinking about accountability and some of the miscontinued, you've got to make sure that you can measure it. Otherwise, you can never know what you can count on me for, and I don't know what I can count on you for. All right? So let's talk about this 4th myth, because I think this one, out of all of them, is a big one around consistency. Meaning I'm supposed to treat not only you consistent, like we talked about the 5 levels of empowerment, but how am I supposed to think about different projects, different tasks? And you've probably seen this if you've done any leadership work at the graduate level. This is what they teach, because I've taken those courses. I know that they talk about this quadrant of concern for task and concern for relationship. So this is just a simple graph to say, okay, if I have a high concern for the task and a low concern for the relationship, what is that likely to get? What is likely to happen at that point? Well, we call you a tyrant. Someone who all you care about is the task. You don't care about the relationship. I know this to be true, that there's always going to be times where you're going to be in the heat of the battle and you're going to have to figure out, how do we get the job done? I get that. But if you have no concern for the relationship, meaning when you're holding people accountable, is it just about the task or is it about the relationship? And on the other side of it, if you're just concerned for the relationship and you're not concerned for the task, we call this a pushover. Meaning you're getting pushed all over relative to the tasks that need to get done. And I'd ask you to think about, where are you from a consistency perspective? Because you may not be. And it's not that you need to be consistent. I want you to think about it in this frame. How can you have concern for both the task and the relationship as much as you can to be balanced? Because if I come into the office today and I ask, why is our printer down? Why is our printer down? Why is our printer down? Well, that's a high concern for the task. Or I can come in and say, hey, how's everybody doing? Listen, I just heard the printer's down. We're a management consulting company. We help companies grow. We've got to be there to serve our clients. How do we make sure that, A, we fix the printer, and more importantly, we learn something from it? Like, how can we do this together? Well, all of a sudden, just by doing that different repositioning, or what I call reframing, by reframing it, you've allowed yourself to have concern for not only the relationship, but also the task. So I know I said this fast, and we teach this in a lot of our programs, Leadership Essentials, we teach this in EPIC. These are both certification programs that we offer. And I would imagine, again, as you think about this, we spend hours and hours and hours on every one of these myths. This was, the purpose of today was really just to give you a thumbnail sketch of how you can think about accountability differently.